if you couldn't trust your parents, if you couldn't trust your guardians. You learned how to depend on yourself, but just because you learned how to depend on yourself doesn't mean that you trust yourself. That doesn't mean that you trust yourself. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. I am so independent. I have everything. I have worked for everything. I don't need anybody. I don't need a man. I don't need anybody for anything. I don't need my parents. I trust myself. No, ultra independence doesn't mean that you trust yourself, because if you trust yourself, that means you're going to allow yourself to trust other people, because you know that you got your own back. So if things don't work out, if people hurt you intentionally or if it's not intentional, it doesn't matter. If people don't do their part, you know that you can always come back to yourself and you got your own back. So you trust yourself that you're going to be able to deal with the heartache. You trust yourself that you're going to be able to deal with whatever the consequences are from what another person does. But you don't trust yourself if you're completely closed off and you don't allow yourself to trust another person. Trusting other people is about trusting us, because we can't control other people. We can trust ourselves that we're making the best decision possible, the right choice, the best choice possible in terms of who we choose to trust. But we also have to keep in mind that people are not perfect. People will make mistakes. People do crazy things just like we have done. So having crazy expectations is not going to work. So if you can choose who you want to trust, and this is part of creating the healthy balance of independence and healthy dependence on someone, you choose who you want to trust, you remove the expectations, you have your standard, whatever that is, and then you have your boundaries. And if something happens and they do something, it's them who did that, their choice. You have to then decide, what am I going to do with this? But this means that no one can be trusted, and you create this belief, which then your subconscious has to reinforce through your new relationships, and the universe just matches that, God just matches that, and you continue to get the same because you believe that. You make that decision after having one of those experiences. It's not what it's about. It's about you choosing that, but then trusting that when people mess up because they're going to do it, you're going to be able to carry yourself through that process. This doesn't come natural to us because we were not taught this growing up. So when we couldn't trust our parents, our guardians, or our friends growing up, we made it mean something about ourselves. Hence why everybody has imposter syndrome today. Hence why people become ultra independent or codependent. Hence why we have all these addiction problems today. Hence why we're always running from our feelings, because we're not taught to have our own back. We're not taught that. So we have to get to the point where we realize that just because I'm doing things myself, that doesn't mean I trust myself. Trust comes from a place of active healing, self-love, self-truth, self-expression, self-awareness, self-compassion, self-forgiveness. Because if you can't forgive yourself for the people that you trusted in the past, because that's the person you're really the most angry at, you're never going to be able to open yourself up again. And then you're going to be closed off for the rest of your life. You're not going to get to experience this abundance, this bliss, this love, this joy, this excitement of being fully involved and ingrained with another person who's giving himself or herself to you, and vice versa. You cannot experience light without having darkness, right? You cannot experience the sun if you don't have the moon. You don't know what up is without the down. So when we allow ourselves to embark into a new possibility of trusting other people, there can be another side of that, but we can't not live in lack. We cannot live in fear, because that's what's going to happen then. This way, it still may happen if you're coming from a place of abundance, but you're also operating from no expectations. Solid boundaries, but no expectations. People are going to mess up. And that's what that is. And then I get to choose whether I want to continue to trust this person or not. But I can handle that because I'm a strong woman. I can carry myself through this. I don't have to shut myself off because I am afraid of what other people are going to do. I can never control that.